Well, I finally did it, guys. I pulled the trigger on a 2026 Ram Rebel. Let's go for a test drive. I'll tell you why I chose this over every other half-ton. The first thing I like is the color. This is Canyon Lake color. I won't bore you with all the details. Full review coming soon, but let's jump in and take it for a spin. Love the red accents. Wife wasn't crazy about it, but she actually did like the interior a lot. In this video, I wanted to tell you why I didn't choose the Tundra and pretty much every other half-ton in the segment. So from my perspective, I didn't even go to a General Motors lot, which kind of says a lot. And the reason why is because GM and Ford, really, I didn't want to deal with their transmission issues. I know a lot of people don't have problems with them, but I just didn't want to deal with it. So we'll get out on the highway here. I'll do a couple, half throttle pulls because it's not quite broken in yet. 127 miles. I think it's about a 300-mile range. They want you to behave like a gentleman in this, so I'm going to break it in properly. Anyway, back to General Motors and Ford. So I really didn't want to deal with transmission issues. I didn't want to upgrade the valve body, although it would have made for good content. I just didn't want to hassle with it. Nothing really excited me on the GM side. Now, if I'm looking at just the physical appearance of these trucks and what I like the most, I will tell you that I think Ram is at the top. A big part of my buying decision is physical appeal. If I'm spending this much money on a truck, I want it to be appealing. So if I'm ranking them, best to worst, for my just subjective opinion on how they look, I like the Ram, then the GMC Sierra, Silverado, then we're probably taking the Ford F-150, and then the Tundra last as far as looks. I actually don't mind the looks of all of them. It's not like I hate any of them. I just prefer the Ram physically, the appearance of it. Now, the drivability of this car is just amazing. The big reason why I chose it is the powertrain. So far, they have not had any issues, at least as big of issues in Ram with the ZF transmission and this 3-liter inline-six as everyone else has had. So that was the main driver and catalyst for me. There's also a YouTube element to this, right? This is the newest truck. So the Tundras have been out since 22. They're still having problems. GM, Ford, everybody's just kind of been stale for the last 3 or 4 years, although they make decent engines in some of their configurations. I didn't want a wet oil pump belt. The latest issues with the Duramax in the GMC really turned me off. So I was really only looking at like the 2.7 liter in the GM. And every other engine I just would feel a little bit skeptical about. The V8s have lifter problems and crankshaft issues. You just on and on and on, right? Toyota has problems with their main bearings. I just saw October 30th and I think October 27th, I saw 2 Tundras, 2 new ones that were dead. One of them was a 2025 in mud bath color. So, you just hear that main bearing problems in the Tundras, and I didn't want to be thinking about that all the time. Now, chances are, wouldn't happen. I know that the odds are in my favor. If you buy a truck, you're not going to have an issue. But I just thought this one, for YouTube content, with the new color in Canyon Lake, would be a better option. A big reason why I chose the Ram was the ride quality and just the quietness of the ride. Now, Ram was one of the first to get rid of the leaf springs in the back. Toyota kind of followed suit and copied them a little bit on this configuration. So I think Ram's had it out a while. It's been pretty reliable, and man, does it ride nice. With these Bilstein shocks, it rides great, and you'll probably see some B-roll of that here while I talk. I'm going to take this on a little washboardy, it's not a gravel road, but it's probably one of the worst paved roads that they haven't repaved. It's got a ton of washboard and asphalt. You can see the suspension do its thing. Another big reason why I chose the Rebel over other things is the price. Ram was willing to deal a lot more than, say, Toyota or any of the other brands. Now, Toyota was coming down. They said, hey, we'll give you invoice on this truck. Now, invoice for Toyota isn't quite the deals you're going to get with Ram and the other brands, but it was a lot better than what we've seen in 2022, 2023. So that was a motivating factor. But this is the Rebel package, so when you consider it's really one down from the RHO, from what I've seen across the country, the Rams are, you can get a Rebel, a 2025 for $51,000, $52,000. That's a really good price for the package. You get skid plates underneath. A lot of them have bed utility packages with an outlet. You got enough features inside. You've got a heated steering wheel, heated seats. Boy, they really deck them out. The stereo system in the level 1, and the reason why I got the level 1 was because I just didn't see a big enough upgrade to the level 2. Been really happy with this so far. The level 2 package had a screen over there, didn't really want it, would rather have the storage. This screen is plenty big. I don't need it to be 14.4 inches. The dash is great. Everything so far has been fine. I've got a trailer brake controller, axle lock, a lot of the features that I wanted with a 1-inch lift in a truck that looks nice. I really wanted it to kind of look cool. And you know, it's part of the YouTube thing. If I bought like the most boring package, it'd be okay for a little while, but the main reason why I bought this is YouTube, and I wanted the new color, Canyon Lake. I thought people would be interested in seeing that as well. Now let's talk about the color. Canyon Lake, it's like a green color, like a sage green. It is really cool. When the sun's hitting it, it kind of turns a totally different color. It's like a little bit lighter green, and then at night kind of gets a little bit darker, almost looks gray at times. So it is kind of a cool color. Another big thing in this Ram is the seating position. This is a super comfortable truck. I sit up and my legs are touching the seat. They kind of go down almost like I'm in a chair. That was kind of a big deal to me. The Tundra was a little bit different seating with the configuration in the windshield and my height. Now I know a lot of people don't have any problem with the Tundras. That's great. I'm glad they work out for other people. When I'm spending this kind of money, the main objective for me is how can I get the fewest amount of trade-offs possible? Hey, there's a Tundra right in front of us. Check that out. How can I get the fewest amount of trade-offs as possible and get on the kind of the spec side, most power, the best ride, all those things that you want to have. And I really did like the Tundra Limited with the TRD package. It rode a lot like this Ram Rebel. However, I didn't like the windshield and the vision, I didn't like the wind noise, and I didn't really like the comfort of the seats and the interior. So overall, I definitely felt like the Ram was just a step up in a lot of areas, especially with the cabin noise and just the feel of the ride. All right, we're coming into this really heavy spot right here. We've got a lot of bumps. Hopefully the suspension is really showing you everything it can do. This is pretty cool. Really like all these gauges on the dash: battery voltage, oil pressure, trans temp, oil temp, coolant temp. Really like the dash, the customizations of it. All right, we're hitting these bumps. What do you guys think? Check that suspension out. We're kind of, you know, this is obviously it's not off-road, but if you're watching my head, it rides awesome. If I take an old car on this road, it's horrible. Absolutely terrible. Anything without new shocks and bushings. This thing rides like it should, like a brand new car, but also I think that design of the rear suspension really just helps soak it up. You just don't feel a lot of this road. Hopefully the video will come out and you guys can see what I'm talking about. We all drive on highways, right? Like most of the time, you're not just towing on dirt roads and beating it up off-road. 90% of people's driving is gonna be on-road, on highway. And you kind of want it to just be compliant and quiet. That's a huge reason why this truck is so awesome. Smooth powertrain, super quiet, no wind noise, excellent suspension, you know, 10-year, 100,000 mile warranty. Man, there's just so much to like about the Ram platform right now. I truly hope that it ends up being reliable. I haven't been the easiest on the mileage, so I'm almost at 19. Give a little gas here. Get some more expansion joints here. You guys can see that suspension doing its thing underneath. Let's give it a little more here. And this ZF is just buttery smooth. Buttery smooth. Wouldn't it be cool if we finally had a powertrain from a company, this ZF and this inline-six Hurricane standard output, that is going to last years and years and years? I don't have any delusions that it's going to be as reliable as my 5.7 Toyota was. I really don't. And I would have, if I wasn't on YouTube, I would have bought another 5.7. Absolutely, I would have bought a second gen. So for those of you out there looking for, hey, what's going to be reliable and what do I not have to work on? You know, what can I go across the country and really not think about, not worry about being stranded? I still believe the second gen Tundra and some of the older Titans for full size were very reliable powertrains. They weren't spinning main bearings. They just didn't have a lot of issues. And boy, did they really never left people stranded. That was the big thing. I'm going to tell you guys the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between with this platform, because I think this is the best half-ton platform you can buy right now. Obviously, I'm 135 miles in. Some check engine light might make me eat crow, We'll flip it around here. Let's see the turning radius one more time. This is just kind of a normal frontage road here. Not bad. It's not as good as my Sequoia was, but really almost nothing is. Give it another little pull here. Now those turbos hit hard. One thing you'll notice, and Barry from C-Tech and others that have owned the RHO, they say that, you know, the RHO has bigger turbos, obviously more power and torque. The one reason I didn't really want that is Barry at C-Tech told me, he's like, dude, for daily driving, I'd actually go with the standard output Hurricane. It's a really, just daily driving it is really nice. And I think he's right, man. The turbos come on almost immediately. There's just feels like there's almost no lag. Hopefully this holds up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I really enjoy all the comments. Sorry to you guys in the Tundras. Who knows, maybe I'll be back to Toyota at some point, but right now I just felt like this was the right truck for me. If Toyota fixes some of the issues, might look at them again. However, I can't imagine them redesigning some of the things that were deal breakers for me, which was like seating position, vision, some of that stuff. So even if the truck ends up being super reliable, I'd be making some compromises to go back to the Tundra. That's kind of where I am. Thanks for watching, guys. Till next time.